Welcome back to Collective Perspective. This is episode 14. How's it going, Craig?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well today. This episode is all about you, Craig. Did you know that?
I don't like that. That puts a lot of pressure on me. What are you talking
Some
about?
Something that I've noticed you say in past episodes and even episode 13 is that you kind of just want to collect games for consoles that you believe you're going to play someday. And I realized that that's not really how my brain works. So I kind of wanted to have an episode about that today.
Yeah, sure. I'm ready.
You mentioned a couple episodes ago that you're selling off your PSP games because you know they'll never get played. Um, you were talking about how the Vita is a way better place to play those games, and I think this is a really common opinion, and I just want to go into that.
Yeah, so I actually did end up selling a majority of my PSP games. I was sitting
Oh
around
wow.
100, and I'm down to like 20 now. I just kept like all the Atlas titles, like the Personas, some of the cool, more unique JRPGs like Jeanne d'Arc and stuff like that. A couple of other weird random ones, so a couple of first party like Resistance Retribution, good games like that. So yeah, I mean that's kind of one of the main reasons I don't collect way too much for DS either, is because I'd rather just play those games on 3DS, and I have a modded 3DS where I could play whatever I want on it. Don't tell anybody. Same with my Vita for PSP. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it would be different if I was a rich man and I had like a metal Jesus house where my whole bottom floor was just for video games and game collecting and stuff. But I've gotten to the point where I mean, I used to be kind of like you, where I wanted to just own every console and every game for every console ever. And I go through phases, and I used to a lot more, where it's like I wanted to get a Wii set, and then I got deep into that, and I was like, nah, this is taking up too much room, and I'll never play a lot of these games. I would go for an N-Gage set, and I was like, oh man, I mean, I'm not gonna ever play these games on an actual N-Gage because the N-Gage sucks. I would get a bunch of Neo Geo Pocket Color games, and I still actually do kind of want that, but I didn't have them complete. Same with Game Gear, and so I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna sell all these, start over, and get them complete. I don't know. I think it's just as I get older and I have more responsibilities, and it's like I'm getting married next year. We're renting out a place now. We're saving up for the wedding. We just got another car for her to drive around because we've been carpooling all this time. As I get older, I just think about the other things my money can go towards, and obviously, I would still love to have like a nice big library of games, and I do. I have a lot of video games. I can't lie. I have like
Yeah.
2,600 games or something like that. And I love a majority of them and don't want to get rid of almost any of them because uh, I've downsized so much over time, even with things like Saturn. I used to have a lot of Saturn games. Now I have like a solid 20 of all like the really good RPGs that I don't want to play. And it's just kind of where it's like I know my money could go toward better things. Like I would rather have all of the different GameCube variants, or all the PAL GameCube games or Japanese GameCube games, opposed to like a ton of PSP games when I know that a majority of the library doesn't speak to me, or all the Xbox games where I know we were just talking about how it's a great console to collect for the last episode, and it is, but when like half the library is racing games, and that's not my favorite genre, that might not be the thing for me to put a ton of my money towards, when I could put it towards more GameCube variants, or finishing my Vita set, or if I decide to go for something like all the 3DS variants on top of that set and things like that. And I don't know. I mean, I still have some games that I'm sure I'll never play, even if I collect them, just because of what they're associated with. Um, but to me, it just kind of comes down more to now uh, the financial responsibility. Like, do I want to go on a vacation to Japan one day and go game hunting out there for fun, or do I want to spend the money that could be spent on that vacation to Japan on a bunch of filler for a library that I know I probably won't ever touch?
So what it boils down to, what it sounds like, is two things. One is space, and the other is instead of having games that you don't want to play, you would rather have, well, I guess this is kind of weird, but variants for um
The stuff that I care
like
more about.
yeah,
Hmm.
which technically you still wouldn't be playing those variants because it's just the same game over again. But I
No,
get what you mean.
no, yeah, I know it's a little bit contradictory or whatever, but I don't know. I think it's just that I've become more okay with not owning everything or owning every cool rare game, and more content about, like, it's like if I have like a copy of Klonoa on PS1, like that's really cool and it's cool for Instagram, but if I don't own it, I mean, my collection is for me at the end of the day, so I'm still happy with what I have. So not having that Klonoa doesn't make me enjoy my hobby any less. And I still have the ability to play it via digital storefronts if I wanted to.
I gotcha.
Mm.
On the other end of the spectrum, you have me. I buy games for consoles that I don't even own. So I have Sega CD games right here. I have my Game Gear doesn't even work, and I have been buying a good amount of Game Gear lately. I think the games are freaking awesome.
Oh, yes. Better than the Game Boy.
Sorry, Jaguar, and PC games from Windows 98 era. I can't play any of those. So
Mm-hmm.
I love collecting this crap. It's not gonna stop me if I don't own the console. But to be clear, there's no wrong way to collect here. It's just a
No.
discussion, a collective perspective, if you will.
Oh. No, of course,
Uh,
yeah. I never judge anybody that does stuff like that either, because, like we always say, and I know you've agreed with me on this, I see being a video game player and being a video game collector as two completely separate hobbies.
yeah.
I mean, how many grown adults do you know that are toy collectors play with their toys?
Yeah. Zero.
Exactly. I know it sounds kind of silly, but I mean, really, at the end of the day, is there much of a difference? Not really. It's an interactive hobby. I mean, it's not interactive media like video games, but the purpose of a toy is to be played with, not to be sitting on somebody's shelf forever. And nobody judges toy collectors for having their toys sit on the shelf forever. So why would you judge a video game collector for doing the same thing?
That's exactly what this episode is about. Because I talk about how being a collector and a gamer is really two different things. If you are a collector per se, yes, you're gonna play your video games. I call it three different tiers personally. I think you have the investors, you're getting sealed stuff, and that's kind of along the toy stuff, the toy analogy here, where you're keeping it sealed, you're not opening it, it's just gonna sit there, whatever. The collector, of course, he's gonna do a little bit of gaming. And then I think you have the gamer, which is going to have a collection per se of video
Mm-hmm.
games. Um, I think if you're a collector, then it is different than being a just a gamer, because a gamer might call himself a collector, but really what he has is just a massive backlog of games that he's going to play one day, right?
Mm-hmm. In
Um,
theory.
Right. So there is definitely no like fine line. There's definitely a lot of crossover there. Um, but yeah.
Now, the
And
only
while I'm not a
difference.
sealed collector, I
Mhm.
do have plenty of games that are sealed, and I'm not going to open them to play. So there's even some meshing on those two tiers as well.
No,
Go ahead.
we all say that we don't care about value, but if somebody were to take my copy of Persona 2 on PS1, throw it out the window, I'd still kick their ass, you know? So it's like you still care even if it's for the not the reason to like sell kind of thing. I mean, the same reason you wouldn't open your sealed games. It's like it's cool. It's a history piece. You still don't want to take one of the few copies that are out there still not opened and open it, kind of thing. I was gonna say the only thing I think is different that I don't like is if someone were to be a video game collector and not a player, and they're only in it for the money and they don't care about the medium or the history or anything like that. I don't know, that always kind of rubs me the wrong way, and maybe that's just because I don't know, I see that as like kind of a greedy kind of thing, and it's like I would rather that game be in the hands of somebody who cares about it for more than just the financial value. But again, that's just every collecting hobby, I suppose. Is there's going to be people in it solely for just the money. So
that's pretty much all I had for this episode. I was gonna wrap this up with saying, Craig, I would like you to stop trying to sell off your PSP and N-Gage games immediately.
It's too late. They're all gone. It's too late. I don't think I'm getting rid of anything else though. So, like I said, I might be getting rid of some like figures and memorabilia and stuff, just because I don't really have a good way to display it, and I hate to just shove shit in the closet. That's not the kind of person I like to be with my stuff. But I think game wise, I'm pretty set now, unless I decide to become a rich man and sell off all my Game Boy Advance games or something, and then I'll really break your heart. So.
You'll break it, but you'll also break my wallet because I'll be the buyer of those games.
You'll be like, hey, sure. So what you getting rid of, buddy?
When you mention your closet, I think of how you said you had hundreds of Wii games stacked up, and that cracks me up every time.
Yes, when I lived with my parents and I was going for the Wii set, I had nowhere to put them, so my entire closet floor was just like fucking piles and piles of Wii games, and I had to like just bend over to get to my clothes and stuff, and I was like, this is getting ridiculous. It was a sight to behold.
Alright guys, join the Discord, drop a comment, hang out with us. That was episode 14, and we'll see you next month for 15 and 16.
Yeah, take care, y'all.